All right. So I'm Rick Vanderveen, and this is Walt Bill, and we're here to present to y'all what we did for our project. And our project was the Christmas tree track road repair. And let's jump right into it. All right. So first thing I want to go over is why you want to have good roads on your on a piece of land like this. So first off, good roads and good access are always going to be crucial to all types of landowners, whether their goals be timber management or any kind of wildlife management. And also, we were in timber management. When was that? Not this past summer, but the summer before with Dr. Moss, and he put it in a very good way to us about access and roads. He told us, he said, so if you got a piece of land that doesn't have good access or good roads, it's going to have very little value because you can't get in there to do anything. And also when you have good roads, it tells other people that might come and check out what you got going on. It might tell them that you take care of your land and you have pride in your land, and it makes your place look very desirable, or more desirable than places that are run down and don't have good roads. So, yep.
Alright, so our project, like we said, it was on the Christmas tree track on the ABAC school forest. This is located just above Chula, kind of northeast of Tift County, right around the county line. And so what we were doing was we had to correct a road that had been pretty much rutted up from probably what I assume at one time, maybe it was a little wet, it's a little low spot in the road. Somebody run through it, rutted up a little bit, and over time it just continually got worse. And so when this spot is wet, it's pretty boggy. And even when it's dry, the ruts from people bogging through it had left a mound in the middle. So if your car had low if your car was low to the ground, then it would scrape your undercarriage. With the vans we use for school, a lot of times they are low to the ground, and they're not built to go through rough terrain, so we had to go in and fix that. It's really important because we use this school forest for different classes, and it's pretty new to the program, so I could see us incorporating it in many different classes. For instance, soils and fire ecology, forest hydrology. All these classes could use this land, and they need a good, reliable road to access it. And like I said before, the vans aren't that great of, or they're not built for this type of rough terrain. So we just had to fix the road where no matter what you drive, you're able to get to where you need to go.
All right. As Walt mentioned earlier, the school forest is located to the northeast of Tifton. If you look at the inset map, in which many of you already know where the school forest is, but in case you don't, look at the inset map where Tifton is, and just north you'll see that little red asterisk. That is where the school forest is. You just go up north on 41 and go through Chula, then hang a right on Willis Still Road. And Willis Still Road on the big portion of the map is the road running from east to west, and that intersection right there is the intersection of Willis Still and Adams. And so you see there's three different blocks that make up the ABAC forest. And the Christmas tree track, if you hang a left on Adams, you go down and there'd be a gate to your right, and that's the first gate on the right. You go in there, and that road, you'll go a little piece down that road, and you will get to, it's like an old logging deck right there on your left, and at that spot right there, that is where the hole that we fixed was. And on the map it'll be that orange star you see, and the road going in is a yellow dashed line right there. So that is where the spot was.
So what we've got right here is a picture of the road before we came in and fixed it. as you can see in this picture, we should have taken a picture. We went and looked at it a couple weeks before we actually started working on it, just kind of gauge what we need to do with the project. But we didn't take a picture. It was full of water, and that would have been the perfect time to take a picture. When we came back 2 weeks later to actually work on it, this is what you see in this picture. It had already dried out, but you can still see that there's ruts right here, and in the middle of the tire ruts, you've got this buildup of dirt, and that could be scraping. Some vehicles like the vans just don't have the clearance to clear this spot. And also when it's wet, like we saw before that we didn't take a picture of, it's really wet, boggy. It holds water, so it's not a reliable. It wasn't a reliable road to go across.
All right, so let's get to the materials that we used. So first off, we came by some concrete slabs, like from old demolished ABAC buildings and just different things around campus that campus personnel were kind of just throwing in a pile, and we the concrete slab pile is back behind the horse stables towards the back of campus, if you know where that's at. And we actually ran into some ABAC workers, and they told us, get all we needed, that they weren't going to use it anymore. So that's where we got the concrete from. And then we also used sledgehammers, my truck and a trailer that I had, safety glasses, and a pickaxe. So that was everything that we used.
On this slide, we're just showing you some of the materials we used. The first picture is of the concrete pile. It's back behind the horse stables and horse pens. It's just a bunch of old concrete that was torn down from the ABAC buildings. You can see in this picture there's huge slabs. You can see a pile of bricks. There's cinder blocks, some gravel that we used, and what we did here was most of the stuff we were able to load. We didn't get some of the huge slabs because they were heavier, so we would, if we had to, we would bust them up a little bit and put them on a trailer. But we used a lot of the smaller stuff like bricks, cinder blocks, gravel, anything that was smaller and easier to put in this hole to fill it. And the other picture is of the pickaxe that we used. So the pickaxe, some of the cinder blocks were denser and harder to break up, so we would use the tip of the pickaxe to get in there and kind of break it up a little bit, and then come in with the sledgehammer and bust it up into smaller pieces. And the smaller pieces of concrete that we used, we didn't really have to use the pickaxe. It was mainly just sledgehammer, busting up into very small pieces.
All right, so methods. So as Walt was saying, the concrete slab pile, we got there and we just started loading up pieces on one of my trailers, and we loaded all the smaller pieces by hand, and then there was some big pieces there was even some pieces that had rebar in it that we had to bust up and get out. And then so after that we got everything on the trailer, and hey, my truck could barely pull it.
Yeah,
that was
we had to load it down,
yeah,
for sure.
And then after that, we made our way out to the ABAC forest, and then we got them off the trailer and started busting everything up into smaller, more manageable size that we could work with and actually start putting in the ruts. And we got all that done, and then after that, we had to. So the way those slabs, they weren't uniform slabs. There was no perfect way to bust them up to where they would all be, small enough that we could just chunk them in there and forget about it. So we had to strategically place them into the ruts, so that way when you drove over the road, you wouldn't puncture a tire or wouldn't hit anything under your car or anything like that if you were driving over it. So I had to just make sure everything was packed down and like it should be in order to drive over it safely. vehicle.
Yeah, there was also some rebarb in a lot of them, and what we didn't know that loading them up. Once we get to busting them up, we find that rebarb in there, and we had to take it out so it wouldn't puncture tires well. So here's a few pictures of us transporting the concrete slabs and all the other pieces we used. So in these pictures, you see the trailer. We're just loading it up at the on the ABAC campus, and then the picture in the top right corner, we backed up the trailer to the spot and essentially just took some of the bigger pieces and put them in gaps that they would fit. So mainly the deeper spots. So when we came back in and put other things to crush on top of it, it wouldn't take as much to crush. We had a solid foundation already up under there. And yep,
there was actually some old asphalt, and there was a lot of different type of concrete stuff, that they had just thrown in that pile.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of different stuff we could use in there, which was a good thing. But like you were saying, some of it was really hard to break, and some of it was busted up really easy. So
yeah.
All right. So after we got everything loaded, we broke out the sledgehammers, and it was honestly very physical work.
Yeah.
Very, very physical work. But thankfully, me and Walt are two muscular men that are capable of doing it. And so yeah, like he was saying, we set the bigger pieces down, and so we'd have something solid and not just trying to bust this stuff up on dirt. And then we take those smaller pieces and bust them up as much as we could, and then come back over top of those big pieces and just spread them out over top. And as you can see in the picture, we've got our safety glasses on and everything we need to be safe while doing this project. So that was another good thing.
Yeah. No injuries.
Yeah, no injuries, thankfully.
So our results. After everything was said and done, we were able to complete a road that was able to be traversed by anything you wanted to drive. Maybe I wouldn't take necessarily some lower riding cars out there still, just because it is, a rougher terrain. But as far as the vans go for the school and everything, it's completely accessible. We actually took Rick's truck over it several times just to make sure that there wasn't going to be any punctured tires. There was no no piece of concrete or rebarb still sticking up that would punch a hole in somebody's tire. And also to make sure it was a smooth ride, because nobody wants a bumpy ride going through something like that. Even though it solves the problem, you still need to make sure it's a comfortable ride and it's not beating your truck to death, or vans, whatever it may be. So the thing with the concrete slabs is it made a very good base for traction. So when you're going through it, even when it's the wettest times of the year, your tires are going to be able to grip that concrete and be able to go through it without slipping or digging down like it would in the mud. And it also raises the road up to where you're not going to have standing water in there, and it won't mess anything in your vehicle up.
All right, so here you guys can see the finished project, and we drove my truck across it to make sure that everything was perfectly fine and safe for professors to drive the vans over, with students for labs and all that kind of stuff. And when we got done, we were left with a pretty smooth ride in the little road when you get going across it. It surprised me how smooth it was, honestly.
For a bunch of broken up pieces of concrete.
Yeah.
It was a pretty smooth ride.
Yeah, it was. So, anyways, that's about it.
So if y'all have any questions, feel free to contact us through email or mobile phones. We've got them listed down here in the slideshow. So yeah, any questions, just feel free. Thank y'all for watching, and that concludes our slides.